We live on Facebook. And now we're going to be live.
Yeah, wake up, yeah. Time to teach a new way.
Good morning.
Grand rising. Good morning.
It is Monday.
Money making Monday.
Motivational.
Money making, whatever makes your boat float.
And this is Qiana.
I am the one and only Mr. Edmund. This is the intellectual gangster, your brother Donnie, the professor.
And this is the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club.
TTTTTBC. C.
Brought to you by the New Image Project, better known as
See that. Thank you for helping us redefine what's cool.
And SMART is
the new gangster. That's right.
And gangster
is the same old. That too.
Oh, we made it through the weekend, fellas.
We survived. Yes.
We did. It was an eventful weekend.
It was. I don't know what happened.
So, okay.
I missed it.
Before we do that, let's go around the world and say good morning.
Good morning. We don't want to leave off. I want to thank, I guess, Brother Juan, since he told me to make sure that I included Turquía. Taquita? Yeah, Turquía. Is that Turquía? Yeah, that's how they say Turkey in Turkey. All right. Yeah, they say Turquía. So I don't want no Turquía. Reality radio. No turkey. Oh, no turkey. No Turquía. Okay, but in the country of Turkey, they'll welcome you by saying marhaba. Marhaba is also Arabic. It means welcome. Sometimes you give me good morning. Say buenos dias for our Latin American world and our Spanish world. We say bon dia for our Lusophone or our Portuguese speaking world. Mm-hmm. We say ni hao in China. We say ohayo or konnichiwa in Japan. And we say on the African continent, oh man, Kiswahili is the Pan-African language. So in Kiswahili, we will say habaragani. It means what's the news? What's the news, right?
The news is that the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club is on your radio.
Right on. That is news. And how about grand rising for my woke community? Mm-hmm. Coming up out of the woke house.
Because we are baking biscuits.
We baking biscuits. Yeah, we cooking up now. We cooking up. You like that too, later. We say buongiorno for our Italian speakers, buongiorno for our speakers of Sicily and Cyprus and Corsica and all those amazing places. It's about khair. We'll say in the Arabic world, meaning morning of life. Mm-hmm. The response is about nur, which means morning of life. So morning of light rather. So about khair means morning of life. So about nur means morning of light. Right? Our Hebrew community will say shalom aleichem.
Shalom aleichem.
For Islamic community, they'll say assalamu alaikum. Okay. Usually they'll say assalamu alaikum, and then because in the culture you have to always respond with something that's equal or greater. You can't just give anything less, or it's considered dishonorable or disrespectful. So someone would say assalamu alaikum, and then the other person would say alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. And then
so we competing the whole time.
You have to. Lord. It's who can greet each other the best is the way they do it. The best greeting. So.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You say it with a smile. I think that's the
best. You win. You do.
Yes. Ni hao.
Ni hao.
You got one? Go ahead. No, I don't have it. What's up? What to do. So this is Good Morning Around the World. I love Good Morning Around the World. Just to kind of like hop around, say it. We never know who we're speaking to and who we're going to touch.
And the way you speak really affects how other people accept you and understand you. And it can even be legal, like it is in the case with the sassy trucker. That's her name, the woman who was arrested in Dubai because she was supposedly she was arrested for yelling at a man.
Oh yeah, she was mad. Oh, she got arrested for going over there. I think we talked about this a little bit.
We were on there, but we
kind of talked about it. She left something in the rental car, and then they were gonna charge her extra to go get it and do all of those stuff, and she kind of popped off on them.
She done jumped bad at the wrong time.
Yeah, well, in the wrong place.
In the wrong place. So okay, so let's say this: people, when you go to other countries, you need to know their laws.
Indeed.
No, better yet, you need to know their culture.
All the above.
So the laws and the culture is too, because they might hang you and strip you butt naked in the middle of the street.
I mean, but
for everybody to see.
I mean, you need to know both, right? It's because again, they're not wrong. Charge you for something for a law that you broke in their country.
Yeah.
You're not in America.
That Constitution does not follow you outside the
You
borders
know,
of America.
and unfortunately, you have committed a crime.
Like I said, the Constitution don't follow you here.
It don't
In America.
Come on now. It won't follow in some gated community.
So Sharonda is up and popping.
Big shots out to Sharonda.
And I gotta call Sharonda.
I got tunnel vision.
Sharonda has offered some great services over here, right? And I mean, Sharonda, we got some good executive producers that's off the air with us.
That's real nice.
Happy birthday / happy anniversary to Raylan Williams. And happy anniversary to Mr. and Mrs. Idris Williams for their anniversary and birthday celebration weekend, all combined together. Unfortunately, Chris and I weren't able to make the birthday party, but from what we saw, it was fantastic, and always a celebration of love. You know, and always a good reason to celebrate when you're celebrating love. So happy anniversary and happy birthday.
Today's my dad's birthday. Happy birthday!
I think I seen a party. I had a party at your people's house. Y'all had a big party in the corner.
On the corner?
Yeah, I was watching. I was gonna pull up. Pull up.
Oh, so
what up, cuz?
So
What up, cuz?
So, and actually, that's a belated birthday to my niece Bonnie.
Okay.
She turned 7. Yeah, so
the big 7.
Bonnie is the sweetest.
The big 7.
So listen, this weekend. So we're already on what happened this weekend.
All right, go ahead.
All right, no, I'm just saying. So we had birthdays. I saw a car blow up in front of me.
Listen, you are somebody's guardian angel. You swoop down and comforted the people in a time of need.
Okay, I will agree with you.
I will go with that. You like that.
Well, because I wrote the post because I didn't want to. I
save them. I didn't save them.
I assisted, but
that's the assistance accounts. You get an assistant award.
And I mean, because these young ladies there, and this is what made me think about it, is because they were worried about the things that were in the car.
Wait, what you mean? Oh, the property and the belongings.
Right, cell phones, all this other stuff, and they were like, "Oh, we gotta get," and I'm like, "No," you know what I mean? And then I'm like, and then
you say they like.
And so I'm like, no, get away, come back from the car like that. And the next thing you know, boom, right? Now, I purposely muted out our conversations and didn't show their faces because I wanted respect, all parties to be. But when she was like, it was her 21st birthday, she got a baby and all this other stuff. And like I say, she's so blessed. And later on in life, she'll realize what a blessing it is. Because she could have been stuck in that car. Because other cars roll by. And didn't even, I don't know who ride by and watch a car on fire.
But first thing you say is, what can I do? I can't do that.
Shout out to our brother Moses Atkins. Because years ago, he did the exact same thing. He stepped up with tremendous bravery to remove somebody from a burning vehicle. And that's a powerful thing to do, to sacrifice yourself and your health and your life to help other people. I mean, it's something that should be applauded to. So we definitely applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I'm thinking of as a parent, as a neighbor, as somebody in this community, this is something that you should do.
It's not on everybody's first mind. You know what I mean? Because people,
I get it.
Help them. They just keep moving.
They kind of did.
They look like they got it.
No,
because
when I saw it, I'm looking and I'm like, wait, hold on, who in this car? Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? And they was like, I'm like, everybody out? Yeah. So, but I'm glad everybody was safe. The paramedics came, the fire station, they came. But the funny part is one of the phones was the phone that was in there, she ended up getting it.
Out the car?
Out the car.
She went back to the vehicle.
After the
Then shots out to fire rescue,
yes.
the ambulances. You know, these people don't get thanked a lot. They call first responders.
Because listen, when I heard the car blow, because we up there, and I'm assuming that the glass blew out, and that was the thing. But so, however, they came, did they thing. They over there with all their fire equipment in the middle of this fire. Those are the heroes.
I mean, you too, Hero Q. You on the list too now.
Those are the heroes.
Because some people kept driving.
They did.
And that's just human nature. We ain't knocking because we might not need you in the way anyway.
No, you don't need look. But I mean, the good thing is that everybody's able to wake up the next day and love on their loved ones.
That's right.
And be able to tell the story.
That counts.
It do.
That definitely counts.
Because some people can't tell the story.
No. So that was a part of the weekend. I was sick all weekend and now I feel better. I think it was sinuses. All week last weekend. Y'all heard it.
Yes.
And y'all just let me ride on that.
I mean, that's what we're supposed to do.
Our condolences to Gilla the kid.
Yes, his son
lost his son.
Yes.
The weekend.
Yeah, Philadelphia is dangerous.
Philadelphia is
They
extremely
call it
dangerous.
Philadelphia.
That's the truth.
Everything is dangerous.
No, I'm gonna tell you what ain't dangerous.
What?
Atlanta. They say since the indictments of YFN Lucci and YSL, the murder rate has went down 32%.
Oof. Streets are cold.
I mean, I don't know. This is just what the people are saying since those two indictments.
Q, you want to explain that a little? Because
I'm
our listening audience can't see that look. But there's a lot of production that's going on.
So what you say? What you say, Q?
Listen, I'm gonna go ahead and skip it right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip it. Go ahead.
All right.
I usually don't skip, but I'm skipping this one. Go ahead.
Weekend or into
No, the
YSL
yes.
and the YFN Lucci.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, we enjoyed the weekend. My wife and I, we did some very special things. We had some pretty awesome excursions, and we had a lot of good time. Naturally, we enjoyed the beach because it's the weekend.
It was hot.
It was so incredibly hot. So it was absolutely amazing. So your pineapple now is a coconut.
It's a coconut.
She got herself a tan. So. Yeah. All right. So fair warning. Can we warn our audience?
Okay, so yeah, I think we can go ahead and go in here.
We're listening to 99.1 FM, WJM 99 Jams, the Birdcast Festival Radio is the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club. If at any time you want to join us in this conversation, join us at 727-637-2416.
Now, the views that is expressed.
So let's warn you, in case of sudden depressurization in the cabin, please look overhead and apply your oxygen mask. Do not apply anybody else's mask until you first secured your own. Your seat might get hot depending on where you're sitting right now. It'll be okay. Just get up, walk around, sit on back down. Because this one is going to be a wrap.
That's a true
So
warning.
again, here we
True
go.
warning.
The views that expressed of not 99.1.
No, these are the views of our ancestors. So our ancestors are going to use me now as a conduit to bring the past back to the present. It was in the grill, it was in NBC News.
And everything. And so, I mean, if you heard it, you probably clutched your pearls.
In the grill?
Yeah, I definitely clenched my fist.
You know
I definitely clenched my fist. On an article that was written on July 20th of 2023, it states Florida will teach its students that slavery benefited black people. The Florida State Board of Education, new regulations on Wednesday that its detractors claim will water down the importance of black history. Let's go into what was said. According to the Washington Post, Florida State Board of Education unanimously approved new guidelines for public schools on Wednesday, stating that students should understand that those held in slavery, quote, developed skills that could, quote, be applied for their personal benefit. The updated recommendations also advise educators to mention that acts, quote, that acts of violence perpetrated against and by African Americans when discussing, quote unquote, mob violence against black communities. Now, again, Brother Evan always says, we always say here, Sister Q, I've heard you say that until the lion has a historian, the hunter will always be the hero. I normally take things, and I can take them rather tongue in cheek. Oh, but today they ran into the gift. To say that this is disgusting is an understatement because it is absolutely egregious. It is the equivalent of saying that the 11 million people held by the Nazi regime between the years of 1933 and 1945, who sold their skins into lampshades, well, at least they came out with the ability to sew, who took the burnt bones of Jews and gypsies and handicapped people and LGBTQIA plus community members and baked those bones down and made soap out of humans, well, at least they learned how to make soap. To look at an atrocity and to see that atrocity as having some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, silver lining in the cloud, is not only egregious and disgusting, but it's insulting to the greatest degree. So very briefly, I just like to share something that I wrote in response. Before the modern capitalist African human trafficking and forced labor economy, African people possessed all the knowledge, all the skills, and all the expertise needed to build every aspect of what was to be known as the New World. These aspects are vast, but in general will fall into the fields of economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. In all of these 9 areas of human existence, Africans prior to their incarceration had mastered thousands of years before a European ever wore a shoe or lived in a house with windows. Well, the African human trafficking and forced labor economy was successful in providing American Africans, black people, with, can be narrowed down to 9 truths and 1 conclusion. So they say it benefited us. Let's go down the benefits. Let's see what it provided us with in benefits wise.
Let's go.
Number 1, labor creates all value. And generational wealth can only be established with the control of land, labor, and resources. Lesson number 2, use yourself or be used by others. Lesson number 3, you may not know.
Hold on 1 second. Caller.
Lesson number 3. This is the lessons that we learned that benefited us that came from slavery. So they say. Lesson number 3. You may not know who you are, but never doubt that your enemy does. Lesson number 4. Any problem that's created through violence and maintained with violence cannot be resolved peacefully. Lesson number 5. Anything that you do not control, including your own definition of self, can and eventually will be used as a weapon against you. Lesson number 6. The institution of race has absolutely no redeemable qualities. No, not one. Lesson number 7. Confusion is both a tactic and a strategy of war. And it and it is so if you're confused about it or not. Number 8. Contrary to popular belief, white folks do lie. Number 9. Until you understand capitalism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you think you understand, including racism and white supremacy, will only confuse you. And number 10. Until Africa is free, unified, and the physical homeland of all African people, no African anywhere on the planet Earth will ever be free, respected, or safe. Those are some lessons that slavery gave us that benefit American African people.
So yes, before we jump in, caller, introduce yourself and speak. Hello? Caller? Hey, Reno! King Reed!
Well, yeah, yes, sir. Let me, but let's,
All right.
can we, but okay, so we have to make sure that we understand. First things first, Dr. Ivor Sherman's book that came before Columbus is a fantastic book. It does not at all in any way say that the human trafficking and forced labor economy that we call the transatlantic slave trade did not occur. What it says is that the Iberians, the Western Europeans who came to the New World around the 16th century, beginning of the 16th century, did so with the help of African people. And there were African mariners who crossed the Atlantic before the introduction of what they call the transatlantic European theater. Uh, I don't believe this, King Reno, but what I do want to do is make sure that we know that the so-called slave trade did happen. African people were brought from the shores of Africa to the New World. This is why there are quote unquote slave dungeons and slave castles in West Africa. These were not done to bring indigenous people to Africa and then take those indigenous people back to the Americas. No. That's not what happened in the case. So while we don't deny the historicity of African people making the Atlantic voyage, Abubakar II, definitely the man who preceded Mansa Musa in the early 1300s, we don't deny that they came from that stock and that Moorish maps were used. I mean, I've actually seen the maps. I read archaic Spanish. I'm a 16th century Spanish paleographer, so I do this for a living. Let me assure you though, that the African diaspora is real. African people are African people. We are not indigenous American people. We came amongst the indigenous American people. But even if you look at the title of the book, They Came Before Columbus, Dr. Sertima didn't say they were here before Columbus. He said they came, meaning they came from what? Somewhere else. And the place that we came from is the African continent.
So here we go. We will have to finish this conversation at the top of the hour. Please stay
I
with
had
us.
something, man.
Oh.
Why you rushing me?
It's 8 o'clock. I mean,
All right, I get it back.
everybody, listen.
He'll come back.
No. I mean, okay. I gotta follow this. Listen, I was ready to buck, but I'm not gonna buck today.
I was joking.
We're gonna give it 7 minutes after the hour. We got a lot to talk about. Jamie Foxx, maybe Taylor Swift, Kodak Black, the school board still. You know what I mean? The ex Qiana. So stay tuned. We'll be back.
So I was gonna tell y'all, I was gonna really get into you. We walked here, what they call it, the Bering Strait. That's why, you ever wonder why Indians, Eskimos, Mexicans all look alike? They all from the same bloodline.
That's the truth, but that wasn't us. And when we say
No, it was a different breed of black man. So people don't know the first inhabitant of Russia was black.
But when we say black,
Like black, Africans.
okay, now we can go with Africa. But these are people who never identified themselves as black. These are people who always identify themselves in relationship to the land.
Wherever they were from,
Right. So, because there are dark people all over the world, that doesn't necessarily mean that these people carry the same haplotype. The reason why we know individuals can come from a certain ethnic group or certain groups is because there's something called haplotypes. It's part of your DNA. The haplotypes of indigenous Americans did not go away. They're still in South America. If you just Google the picture of Amazonian Indians, I mean, just Google. It's not hard. Just Google it. You'll see the people.
Hello, I'm Gabe Ortiz, and this is WEDU Arts Plus. Based out of St. Pete, the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club is a morning radio show about hip-hop life and urban culture. Meet the hosts who inform and empower their listeners.
I'm Jabbar Edman. I go by Mr. Edman. My role, I'm a host and I'm co-founder.
My name is Brother John Muhammad, Your Brother John, YourBrotherJohn.com. And my role on the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club is host or co-host.
I just go by Qiana. Sometimes you may hear the guys call me Q. I may say Q just depending on my personality that day. And I'm the female of the crew. I think I keep balance when you look at the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club. So that's my role.
And I'm Bruce Moore Jr. A lot of people do know Bruce Moore Jr., obviously being born and raised here and going to school here, but there's many more people that know Reno.
St. Pete is small, and so the good things and bad things that come with a small city, you know, everybody knowing each other, of course, would be one of the pluses.
My neighbors were not only just my neighbors, they became my family.
Trying to put that back now, like really getting back to a place where we know our neighbors and we look out for each other. It was a St. Pete that existed, you know, south of Central, and then there was another St. Pete that existed north of Central and downtown. It was struggled in, and I think it's still, somewhat a struggle for black people in the city of St. Pete.
Even with every step of progress we make, it's still a struggle to, implement that progress.
Did y'all hear about the weed college, the first cannabis college
in Orlando?
Talk to him, Soprano.
No, yeah, I've been looking at it.
This is serious, y'all.
Over a year ago.
If you got the charges, go and get the degrees, King. You got years of experience, man. It ain't like you come into a classroom with no data.
Elon Musk said that a drug dealer knows how to manage and run a business better.
I can't believe that.
The real facts, man.
I'm all about education. But what I'm saying is that we carry this industry on our backs.
The way we started the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club, Jabbar approached me about what could we do, how can we do something together, and then an opportunity to promote Amendment 4. Amendment 4 is the, voting rights restoration to returning citizens. We were able to negotiate a deal where we got like 30 minutes on the radio at 99 Jams to talk about, Amendment 4 and other local, policies.
It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. Just brushing up on some of my favorite literary classics. Even if a page turner like this isn't up your alley, did you know our libraries offer so much more than classic books? There's also things like passes to local museums. You can download ebooks onto your Kindle device. And super cool things like a team gaming program. Visit your local library and see all it has to offer.
Dificultades en
Your mics? No. Read them.
Who said they didn't hear what you said?
Oh, read them. You can hear the call.
Oh, seats in Parliament
You probably ain't right next to the other one.
decisive, and the left-wing bloc or the right-wing bloc, they have.
And just like that, we are back. We are back. This is Qiana.
I am the one and only Mr. Edmonds. This is the intellectual gangster, your brother Donnie, the professor.
So listen, before we left, and this is the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club. Talk to you about the new image project, better known as.
See that.
And we are redefining what's cool and smart is the
New gangster.
Yes, it is. So before we left on our break, we were talking about the school board and the new decision, and it kind of went about the history of it. I'm going to bring it back to school, all the way back to what they're teaching our children, and the fact that they think this is okay is a problem. You're telling somebody that they have skills, they gain skills that they could actually make money from when they wasn't allowed to do anything outside of what their plantation master would allow them to do. And if they did anything, they would be whipped, killed. They were ripped away from their families. These skills you could not use outside of doing whatever they want to do. The fact that they can turn the narrative and make it seem so pleasant as if you were giving us a gift or something.
So maybe one day somebody will want to return to it.
Come on now.
So, you know, here we go, is that we need to control the narrative. We need to, if you don't like what your children are being taught, then you need to start teaching them yourself.
That's the truth.
Y'all know I'm an advocate for homeschool. I homeschool Cheyenne all through middle school. We talk about building schools and having them so that our children are given the knowledge and the things that they need to sustain in life. And we really need to look into this. Now, this is Qiana speaking. This may not be everybody else. Go ahead, Shabbat.
So my main thought, because this is making a lot of people angry, and I would say don't get mad, get organized. Because any solution that's worth having is going to take organization. If we're going to homeschool, it's going to take organization. If we're going to do anything, period. Because the problem is we have an organized front that we're against, right? These groups, these organizations put together a front, and they are clearly organized all the way up to the top, right? So their number one guy is like the second for president. He's going against Trump for president right now, right? That's how organized they are. And I think that it empowers his base by doing these things because this is what they asked him to do, right? Mm-hmm. This is what was requested of him. So he's what they call fulfilling his mandate, right? So now you flip the coin over. What is our mandate of our people?
And I'm going to go ahead. So you go ahead.
I was just going to say historical skepticism is healthy. I don't want anybody to feel like there's a stigma that's attached with historical skepticism. Historical skepticism is how you find things out, by being curious, by being inquisitive, and by looking and by questioning the source material that you see.
Okay.
I would say that for those who are budding to take history on as a hobby or something that's outside of what they normally do, make sure you understand what history is. History is not just secondary resources, meaning it's not just reading books written by historians. You have to know how to read books that are written by historians. I am a trained university, trained historian, meaning I understand how to do archival research. The average individual doesn't even know how to order something from an archive. If you ask the person, average person, hey, how do you order this? What folio do you go to order this from the archive? They will look at you and they won't know. And it's not because I'm better than anybody else. It's just because I've been doing it longer. And this is my job. Some people Qiana can sing. Qiana can manage really well. Cheyenne can sing. I mean, phenomenal, right? I would be an absolute fool to think that I'm better singing than Cheyenne because she's put in the work and the dedication and the hours to become great at her craft. It's exactly what I've done when it comes to history. And so when I say that I've read these documents, I've read the original when people say that the transatlantic slave trade didn't bring individuals to the Americas. Brother Edmund was saying when we were off air about the literally hundreds of millions of people who were just brought to South America and the Caribbean, let alone the individuals who came to be in the United States. But until you've read the manifest and the notary records of Diego de la Haya, until you know who Diego de la Haya was, and the De La Haya brothers, till you've had the opportunity to read their records, then you are woefully uninformed and at the will of the individual who's writing the books. What I'm saying is, I've read what the writers of the books read to write their books. You can either trust me or not. I'd rather you didn't, but I'd rather you question me on my sources rather than discount what is being said.
Well, I think this is a healthy dialogue, right? And what it does is, and when we're talking about it, this is educated people throwing ideas out to each other. And the dialogue is here. And what education will do for you, pushed in the right way, is make you push the envelope. And I'd rather for our children to be able to go back and forth and dialogue and be like, this is what I thought, and you say, this is what I learned, and be able to talk about our history and be excited and be able to say, no, this was wrong in here, than to not be able to say anything at all.
They have effectively turned kidnapping and homicide into slavery, right? Then turn slavery into a vocational experience. You know what I'm saying?
They turn kidnapping and homicide to a willing participant.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It said that's just like
it's for your good.
You ever heard?
They did, but that was from the beginning. From the beginning, they were mixing it up and saying that they were saving the savages. They were bringing Christianity to the wretched people, right? That was the the Superman complex that even got us here.
And what Qiana was talking about, I mean, it's the place that we call Pinellas County, St. Petersburg, is replete with that history. Not only is it replete with the history of man named like Estebanico, Esteban or Estebanico or Stephen the Moor, Estebanico el Moro. Stephen the Moor, the first person to put his foot, the first person from a European conquest to put his foot in the place that we call St. Petersburg now, Jungle Prada, in the Pamphilo de Narvaez 1528 expedition. The Moor was the first person to put his foot down in Pinellas County. This is the historical fact. But what was the expedition? It was a slave raiding expedition. So we have to look at things conclusively. Esteban, who was a linguist and a multi-talented polymath, was here with Pamphilo de Narvaez. And he came with Pamphilo de Narvaez to the area that we call Jungle Prada, right there on Park Street, to capture indigenous Americans and enslave them. So, and this was an African Moor who did this. So this thing is complex. History can't be reduced down to blackness and whiteness, because blackness and whiteness are modern creations that come from modern institutions of race.
Well, I'm going to say this, is everybody's upset. Let your anger fuel you to a solution. And I'm going to say this, is that if you know somebody that's not registered to vote, go and encourage them to get registered. And let them know how important it is for us to get out there and vote and get like-minded people. So because everybody cannot homeschool their children. You know what I mean? Everybody cannot organize and take their kids out and do something different. The school system is here. It's going to be here, and we're going to have to work with it in some type of form or fashion until we figure out something else. And until we figure out something else, we got to work with it. And with working with it, we need to change it within. And changing it within is getting like-minded people in office so that we can get the education that we want. That's Qiana. Anybody else?
So I want to just say, get organized. I want to say it again, because without an organized front, there's no way to beat someone or a group that is organized. And I think that that's what we're running into. We're running into this rugged individualism. That's America, right? That's been put on us. But we're running into this rugged individualism against a united front. These guys have every base covered right now, right? And there's no way to penetrate until we get a basement on every base, till we get a counter for every counter. Because honestly, this has all been done before. This ain't the first time history has been whitewashed. It's going on right in front of our eyes, and we don't know how to handle it, but it's been going down. That book that they changing right now was already changed. It was already dipped in the white solution. So what we got to do is just really, really, really organize, y'all. If you ain't a part of nothing, join something. I ain't telling you to join me or join my groups. I'm telling you to join a group. Join something, get a part of something, and let's make some moves, because the last 5 years, these people been flooding the school board. Like you say, flooding. You go there, there's 30 of them sitting up waiting to rock out. You get what I'm saying? And so now this is what that's come to. This is what that comes to now. After them 5 years of them flooding those city school boards all over the state of Florida, now they got a law, or now they got an education board to tear slavery into the VOTEC.
And so what he's saying is that they did not initially get up there and say something, and then their first no get discouraged, and then go back down. They continue, and continue. You know, they knew that they were going to get a lot of no's before they got one yes. But once they got one yes, it's easier to then get more after that. So yes, stay organized, stay persistent, be educated, and let's make a change, because
and be comfortable being lonely. Be comfortable. Learn how to be comfortable being lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a history teacher, as a history professor, I can tell you it gets cold out there. And it gets cold out there from the community that says, you know what we need? We need real good history teachers. We need real good history professors. And then when you get fired, nobody has anything for you. You know, then everybody looking at you like you got 9 heads. so I say that to say that just become very comfortable being lonely and being alone. Being right will make you lonely much more than it will make you somebody who's popular.
Well, there you go.
There you have it. Fresh off the cup.
Fresh off the cup. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna elbow off of that. Jamie Foxx.
I don't like how you're doing, Jamie. And this kind of ties back into.
That's why I went to Jamie.
This ties back into what the professor just was saying about staying with our people, y'all. You get what I'm saying? So people don't know Jamie Foxx had been sick. Like April, May, he was in the hospital.
4 months.
Yep, he was fighting for his life, fighting for his health. He come back, boom. Everybody's been mysterious. What's up with Jamie Foxx? He's finally done a video, and he came out with the video, and now everybody's saying Jamie Foxx is clone. They got all types of things to say instead of saying, glad to see him up on his feet. Glad to see. They took a picture of probably him at his prime, right, with him after 4 months or 5 months. And comparing the two, and it's like, what do we expect from people?
First of all, he's
4 months. Almost died.
So he almost died, right? He was in there, and I didn't fully watch the video. I just watched a little bit. You could tell he's not himself. You could tell that he's not fully.
He was just really saying. I watched. He was just really saying, "Thank y'all for staying with me. Thank for the prayers." That's all he was really saying in the video. You know what I'm saying? And so now people taking that. And they turning up. You get what I'm saying? And you got to understand, you know, when people are dealing with health challenges, of course they're not going to look the same.
And you know, the last
this almost like shaming the man. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, what? You know what I'm saying? These people crazy. I'm reading some of the comments. Ice-T made a comment right on Twitter, and I'm reading Ice-T comment. I'm with Ice-T. Ice-T said it straight up. You know what I'm saying? Some people look bad after having a cold.
Yeah.
You don't bounce back after having a cold. Not speaking of 4 months. In care and in rehab, you know what I mean?
Because he was in rehab. He had
to come bounce back. God bless the man.
And he had a whole, I mean, listen, social media is so mean, right? And I say this all the time when
worse than a high school bully. I'm just saying.
Entertainment industry is very hard, and everybody wants to be a part of it, right? Everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to be known for being an athlete, a singer, an actor. And I tell you this is that you have to, and I say this all the time, you have to know exactly who you are before you do this, because you do. You got to know that you're great before you walk in that door. You have to know that you're the best at what you do. Because if you're waiting for somebody else to define that for you, then you are already in the wrong industry, because you see it right now. Jamie Foxx has given us great music, great movies, and the day that he slipped and need us to really pray and
they own him
and like, yo, oh no, they cloned him. They doing all this other stuff. How hurtful for the person who had to fight for his life to hear that I was cloned, or that this is a setup. Oh, this is not real. Oh, I faked my death to not go to court. And you know what's even more hurtful from this? This don't come from somebody else. This come from the same people that look like him. And then we talk about unification. And we talk about how we need to organize and be together, and we're the first ones to pull each other down. We got to do better, people.
And I guess we're taking solution-based, solution-oriented. we have to understand that we cannot unite based on how we look. Will not work. Will not work. The only thing that human beings can unite on, with all of our various differences, is principles. So the people who have the principles that stood with and matched the principles that Brother Jamie Foxx represented, always stood with him. Even if people who looked like him did an about face. That should be a lesson to all of us to know that you have to unite with the person's principles and not with the person's looks in order to get real unity and real solidarity. You can't do it any other kind of way.
I second that.
I ain't mad at it.
I think that's something that race did that helped to destroy humanity. Was it grouped and categorized people by things that they did not create. Again, race is a condition of birth, supposedly. And it's the mythology of race that I hate is a condition of birth. You're born into a group that you may not fit into. Your principles might be aligned with a totally, completely different group of people. But you're told that these are quote unquote your people. Oh, look what your people are doing. Look what no. My people are the people who share my principles. And I think until we can see the world in that way, we're going to continue to be waylaid by a world that has reduced us to a freaking coloring box.
It is.
You got some comments?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I can't see them.
You can. Let's see.
Okay, Tasha say, people are so mean on social media, they lack common courtesy for people online. Is sickening. Keyword talk. Good morning. Okay,
yeah.
Sandra say, sickness takes a toll on your body. Ain't that the truth?
It does.
Common sense ain't that common. We know it ain't. Roy say, I think the timing is why though. You come out the same time as the movie about people being cloned. He could have just waited, but at the end of the day, it was his decision.
Except, so let's say this, and I'm going to say this, is that when you can, if you look hard enough, you'll find.
Depends on what you're looking for, huh?
You look hard enough, you will find. When Tupac got killed, his album was called Machiavelli, and we was like, he'll be back. He'll be back. You know what I mean?
No, for real.
Please read The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. Please read the book, because I've heard many people quote the book that I've read many times, and I've heard all kind of stuff come out. Well, you know, quote unquote, first off, his name was Machiavelli. Tupac's album was, and his alter ego was Machiavelli. So people automatically made the connection between the two, right? I'm not saying that it wasn't supposed to be one, but I'm saying that people did it. But then you didn't read the book. You didn't read Niccolo Machiavelli's the book, The Prince. That's my thing. Read the material.
Because they weren't talking about the Prince. They were talking about Machiavelli Tupac. Hit him up. Yeah. All eyes on me. See, that's the thing. See, that was a whole nother product though. See what I'm saying?
Machiavelli the Don.
Don Illuminati.
Yeah, Don Illuminati.
That's what they were talking about. See, you had all the names mixed up.
That's what it was. See, the president got me right.
All I'm going to say is that give the brother a break.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Break, man.
We said that who was the football player who got injured? He had
Antonio Brown?
No, not Antonio Brown.
Shout out to AB, man.
Shout
out to AB doing his thing.
No, the football player who had a heart attack or whatever.
The young bro.
As soon as he came out, he cloned. He himself.
These people, they did that to Gucci Mane. Gucci Mane came out with some good health. You know what I'm saying? He was talking with some sense. Right. Now they saying he cloned because he ain't the old Eminem eating fat boy. Come on, he ain't on that no more. Man, when he got it.
And let's
BBL, the man BBL.
And the thing is, the funny thing is this, is that if let's just say Jamie Foxx was quote unquote clone, do you understand what cloning is? If you don't understand what cloning is, then you're just saying words that you have no reference to whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a new trigger word. I mean, not trigger word, it's a new trending word. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say, the first person I heard they was saying clone
right.
was Gucci Mane. When Gucci got out of the feds and he was in shape and he was talking with some sense. He wasn't the old Gucci Mane.
If people don't understand mitosis and meiosis, right, the things that happen in the darkness of the womb, women produce clones every day. We just call them twins. An identical twin is a clone. They have the same DNA. So when we talk about cloning, like we love to get on this bean soup science. When we sit around, bean soup science, right? We sit around, we talk about, I say, brother, the clones, but it's the clones that did it, man. Attack of the clones. You seen the movie? Reptilians in the grave. That's what it is. The reptilians in the grave. Right? So we get all into that, and we don't realize that, I mean, somebody had triplets. They didn't just clone them, they cloned somebody twice. 3 times, really, if you want to consider each baby its own person. And we go too far with this. Jamie Foxx may have a clone. I don't know if he has a twin brother. Elvis did. I don't know if Jamie Foxx has a twin brother. So we gotta be real careful the way we do this.
See, I didn't know Elvis had a twin. Did you know Elvis had a twin?
Yep.
Who is Elvis' twin?
He died.
Oh.
Yeah, Elvis' his twin died.
So to say the government started it with the darn chicken. so when do we gonna talk about the new clone meat?
I don't want it.
And you're probably already eating it. So first off, we'll talk about that later, right? We'll talk about that later, right? Because they clone vegetables, they clone plants.
They are.
You get what I'm saying? So we eating clone. We been on. You ain't gonna say.
I know there's
anything without seeds.
Oh, I totally know that. And this is why our health is so bad.
Like those bananas that we love all our life.
No, not all our lives. No.
I ain't never seen a banana with a seed.
First of all,
we on a different.
No.
I ain't never seen a banana with a seed.
Okay, man. So Green's Bakery
had bananas with seed.
Miss Bernice had a banana tree in her house.
Whole banana tree. This is real banana pudding.
Yeah.
The real banana.
So there was, when we were younger, you used to be able to cut the banana and see the seeds.
Listen, Jab say seedless watermelon. You want in public? Phone.
Attack the Caribbean. You go to the Caribbean now, DR, Cuba, Puerto Rico, any places they're growing banana, like they're growing. Bananas aren't usually as large, and they're not large and they're not yellow.
Yeah, they're small.
They're small.
Yeah,
and those jokers are delicious.
And you know what? This is the thing. That's why they made them like that to get more like fruit.
Capitalism. That's how it works.
You know. So the book of the day.
All right. So the book of the day goes back, I guess, to the theme of understanding what happened to African people. Disassociation is a thing that happened to African people. So much so that when Dr. John Henry Clark always says, he says that when the world declared war on Africa, it didn't just declare war on the land, the labor, and the resources. It declared war on the people and on the people's minds. And it colonized not just the idea of beauty, but it colonized the image of God. So now that when African people look in a mirror, the African looking back at them is a trigger for psychological trauma. So the book of the day is a book called Heirlooms. It's Hairlooms. Heirlooms, like heirlooms, heirlooms.
Listen up so people can see.
The heirloom.
It's called Heirlooms. Right? It's called The Untangled Truth About Loving Your Natural Hair and Beauty. Only 8% of human beings, only 8% of human beings have curly hair. 8% of the Earth's population has curly hair.
Curl? I got a little curl in them.
The vast majority of people, and it's interesting that you said it.
A nap is a curl. What are you talking about?
The word nappy has a meaning. It means absorbent. That's how you get the word napkin. Because our hair holds moisture, it holds liquids. That hair is called nappy. So nappy has nothing to do with a negative understanding or a negative denotation. The connotation to it is seen as something negative. But the book Heirlooms, the reason why it's such an amazing book is because it's a workbook. In it, you have different pages that are dedicated to being a diary, to being a sounding board, and you have the experiences of other people who took the natural journey. When you realize how special you are, you'll understand why your enemy always wants to hide it from you. When you study the Qiana law that was instituted in colonial New Orleans, that said that curly hair, the big fro, the big curls, had to be covered because it was intimidating white women in public, then you understand the magic and the magistry that's in your hair. I always say, to me, the most beautiful thing ever created on the face of the planet Earth is a big afro. A big afro is the most gorgeous thing in the world. Natural hair, natural beauty, these things have to be celebrated. Women have to be celebrated. But not only women make the lock journey, right? So this book is a workbook. It's a care book. It's an eternal reflection book. And because I'm bald, I don't really have too many.
Well, let me say this. I got a lot of hair. Jabbar got some dreads. But you know what? I have to apologize. The book of the day is brought to you by the Barbershop Book Club. Right?
Shout out to the Barbershop Book Club. They're gonna have Sky Zone coming up in the next couple days for the children. I'll get the date for y'all.
So brothers and sisters, please remember that
embrace your health.
And when you do that, that's an act of revolution. Love is revolutionary in a world that's been taught to hate itself. So love is self-love is revolutionary, and a person has been taught to hate themselves. So the moment that you take that journey, the moment you begin to embrace yourself and no longer have that feud with that person that's in the mirror, then you can step out in your true nature, walk in the sun, and do as you were meant to do when you were made.
Jabbar?
So I love mine.
No, but you see a lot of women that's embracing their natural hair.
Yes.
Natural hair is a lot of work, though.
Is it? Take us through the journey.
Oh, it's
so it's more work than the heat press and the 8-hour braids. You know?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And let me tell you.
Well, labor creates all value, so that must mean it must be more valuable.
It is. I mean, you gotta to detangle the thickness. It all depends on how thick your hair and like everything. Like I have a lot of hair, so like even when I twist my hair, I know for me to do it is gonna be a 2.5 hour process or even longer. And the 2.5 hours is just me twisting. That don't mean me washing, conditioning, going through detangling and doing all of the other stuff. Now think about this. You go through some type of process to get it pressed and all of it, but that lasts for a long time. Like once you manage your hair and get it straight, you can manage it so much easier. You can pull it in a ponytail, you can make it look neat. I have to kind of, but you know what? Neither here or there, because I wake up in the morning and just put a scarf on my head sometimes and just keep it moving.
But that's magic, though. that's the magic of style. That's to be able. When they told us that we couldn't wear our hair out because it was too intimidating, when we started making styles from hair wraps that would make people pass out. If you ever look at any of the old paintings of African and biracial women in New Orleans and throughout the diaspora in the 19th and 18th century, just the head wraps alone. Go to 18th and 19th century Brazil, Salvador, Brazil. Go to Cuba today and notice in Cuba and Puerto Rico, on the island of Hispaniola and Haiti, when women tie their heads up and carry water buckets and things on their head. Just look at the majesty that you see and the beauty that you see in women who have fully embraced their hair. And I can understand what you're saying, Q, because we didn't evolve to live in North America. So I imagine that the climate also puts a wear on your hair. I imagine it's way too dry.
So it can be, so you could tell when my hair is dry, right? You can see, it's dry today. Y'all can't see it because I'm never on the camera. But you can also tell when I go in there and wash and condition it and give it right, because then you can see see the difference of my curls, right? Like my curls is popping, as they would say, and then they're kind of everywhere. They boom, 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 and then they get dry. You know, like anything, you need to maintain it. But regardless of how you wear your hair, your natural state is beautiful.
It definitely is. And men, we must start praising the qualities that we love most in women, because femininity grows with praise. So if you know that you like beautiful natural hair like myself, then we have to start praising beautiful natural hair.
Right.
And celebrating it for what it is.
Yes, and yes, and yes. So book of the day, Yubi has put it in there. So if you're trying to get the book, there you go. Yubi, always on point. Him and Sharonda, yes. So yes, all right. So we have Ask Qiana.
We do. You ready?
Yes, and the Ask Qiana is brought to you by Brother John. Tell us who, because this is Brother John's segment. Look.
You're listening to 99.1 FM, WUJM, 99 Jams, the Birdcast Rest Radio. This is the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club.
Yes, go ahead. Will.
All right, here we go. Mm-hmm. Hey there. At least this one didn't say Big Qiana.
He didn't carry it.
Hey there.
I'm going through a tough time right now, struggling to keep up with bills and finances. With the new school year approaching, I need help with getting school clothes for my kids, but I can't help but feel too proud to ask for help. In progress. How can I overcome this pride and find the support I need to ensure my kids have what they need for school? Appreciate any advice.
Just ask. Oh, I mean, you wrote a letter, right? So at this point, you just need to ask. Go to your local church. If you're in what you laughing at?
Somebody text me something. I ain't laughing at you. Go to church.
No, you go to church. There's a lot of stuff that's going. There's a lot of places that's offering help out there, right? You see it out, but you really gotta say that you need the help, and you don't really have to go out there. I'm not saying put it on Facebook. You know what I mean?
Don't put it on Facebook.
Who said that?
Okay.
No, I'm not saying you don't have to put it on, because if she's a private person or he is a private person and don't want people to know that they're in need, then you can do, there's always services that's out there offered, right? If you know, listen, if you are one of our people, clearly you are, inbox the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club. We can direct you to people that are offering things out. Again, you go to Child's Park for their back to school giveaway. It's a lot of stuff out there, right? And Aaron, they're doing something. I know that Renee Edwards, they're giving away something
on the same day on August 5th at Tropicana Field.
Right, but churches is a good place to go to.
Yeah, that's where to start at.
You can start there. If you don't have a lot of money and you need to thrift stores. Even though you want your kids to have new stuff, sometimes they cannot. But I know that there's a lot of people that's offering a lot of stuff out there. Sometimes there are people on Facebook that's willing to help, and they are, because I see they do. People buy clothes and all the time, and I know last year they was like, hey, if you need help with something, let us know, because people will buy. So I mean, you got to put your pride aside.
And for the betterment of the child, you definitely got to put your pride to the side. But if you want to just do some low key stuff, some resources like a 211. Oh, 211 actually do they got anything? Or at least they can tell you is no.
211 is a good one.
Yeah, at least they can tell you is no, and then it's community stuff going on. I got flyers for like 3 different events coming up. I'm gonna put them in the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club page. So come back later today and get some of those resources. Big shout out to Store 727. They giving away food and things like that as well.
Yeah, also look to the Hispanic Services Council. I don't know if the person who listed it is part of the Latinx community, but we have so many Latinx brothers and sisters in our surrounding areas, of the areas who watch us, who listen to us, and who support us. Look to the Hispanic Services Council, the Hispanic Society of Federation around Florida, and the Hispanic Outreach Center. Also, if you if I'm sure can go to a church regardless to how you feel about religion or spirituality. I'm sure that they offer themselves as a function of the community, especially being 501c3. They don't pay taxes, so they have the wherewithal to provide for the community. But also visit your local mosque or your local masjid. If you're outside of that community, find these networks, these hubs, and make sure that you do that. And continue to listen, because we have resources coming to you every day. Continue to
all
listen
the time. Yes, and that's really it. And then if you're on social media, look out. Put in like clothes giveaway in like the search box.
Backpack giveaway.
She's looking for clothes and stuff like that too.
But some of them.
Yeah, backpack, all of that. But I'm just
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
But what you need.
To get what you need, put in those search boxes, because go to 727. There's a vast amount of resources out here. I wish I could just go down the list, but because I don't know them all, but they're out there. But I'm going to tell you that yes, people are willing to help. You just gotta ask. A closed mouth don't get fed. So nobody knows that you need it if you don't say anything.
And it's a process, I guess. Coming to that realization that you do need something is a process. And it's only because we've made the society capitalism has made the society so individualistic that we think that we should be able to provide for all of our needs and still live in communities. And the whole purpose of living in a community is not being able to provide for all of your needs, but needing a collective, understand that there's a collective need for people. So.
I mean, honestly, people need people. And at one point, no, we do. And I mean, this thing that, I don't need nobody is a lie.
No, that's how some people really feel.
But that's a lie.
They traumatized.
Because they still need somebody.
It's a trauma response.
It is, but it's a lie. It's a lie. You needed your boss to believe in you to hire you.
No, your boss needed you to do the work. I'm just saying.
So it was still a need.
I don't need the bank. The bank needs my money. Gas station need my money, or they can't pay their bills.
Again, there's still a need.
Let me stop going to the gas station.
So there's still a need.
I'm just
saying, like, even when you even say it and you say it out loud, they need me. So then somebody needed somebody.
There's a need.
There is a need. So when we stop acting like we don't need each other, then life would be a little bit better.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like I came in this world by myself. I leave by myself. I did no. Your mom was there with you.
Yeah, and that's the big lie anyway. You weren't even made by yourself.
Right. And when you came,
but it's a trauma response.
I'm just saying. But when you look at it, your mama was there with you. Your doctors, whoever was there to listen.
And many of the first ways we were introduced to need was associated with trauma. The first way that a lot of us can go back and say, okay, well, how were you introduced to the fact that you needed something or someone that you can remember? Because you were born needing,
right,
and not being able to provide for your needs. And if any mother who is breastfed and had that milk back up for them, they need that baby too. You best believe that milk back up underneath the moms.
Yes, you do. Now here, Eric said we can all sit down and share resources. And vision. Sooner than later, he's available all week while he's in town.
Big shout out to Eric, man. Story 727, the whole team.
Sharonda say, let's create a Zoom ASAP. So there's research. I'm with all of that. Like there's.
So we'll make the Zoom, and y'all will come back and message y'all with the Zoom, and it'll be a Zoom this week.
You say a Zoom this week?
Yeah.
We'll do, but just know that if you need these resources, people are willing to help you. And yes, everybody needs everybody sometime. So yes, if your kids need these school supplies, need clothes, believe me, you have a community full of resources and people willing to help. Just let us know that you need it, and we are here for you. And we're not here to embarrass you either. Like, this is not an embarrassing thing to make sure that your kids get what they need. What's embarrassing is that you didn't ask.
What about when they taking pictures of me getting my backpack?
I mean, so
we've been so
conditioned.
Yeah, exactly. We've been so robbed of what the beauty of humanity is, and that is that kindness has no shame. We've been so robbed of that concept that kindness has no shame, and receiving kindness has no shame, that we'll take something that's good, that we'll take something that's good for us and interpret it as something that's bad. That's a person who's lost the knowledge of self. Why? Because when you've lost the knowledge of self, you don't understand, you don't have a primary reference point for which you can respond to anything else in the world. So you'll end up taking it in poison and thinking it's good, and then rejecting what's good for you and thinking it is bad. We have to fix, this is where cultural revolution comes in. We have to represent what revolutionary agape love is.
Agape, so
and this is the reality behind it, man. So I understand what you, brother President Emin, that's the reality, that is stigmatized when you receive needing, when you start needing something, because we haven't taken the shame away from kindness, because we have been so conditioned and suckled on the breast of a system that says there is no goodness in kindness.
Well, we're on a system that regardless of what you do, there's something wrong with it.
Come on now.
If you know, it don't matter what you do. If you don't say nothing, then you know what I mean. Oh, you're wrong for that. If you boast of that, oh, you're wrong for that. Like, you know, so you cannot win. Embrace the goodness. Be who you are. And I mean, honestly, there's nothing wrong with a neighbor being a neighbor.
That's what it is. I mean, you know, and that's our culture. That's how we survive, and that's how others have survived. Before we bounce out of here, I just want to make sure I like to correct. If I make a mistake, I like to correct it in the same way that I made it. I did refer to Mexicans. I'm sorry, Brother King Reno, when he was talking about Mexicans, he was talking about the Spanish giving them that name. The name Mexican comes from the name Mexica. Mexica is a Nahuatl word. If you understand,
I think he was talking about the Mayans.
Yeah, he was. He was talking about Mayans, but then he said they were given the name Mexicans. So if I may correct, then I stand corrected. Trust, I can be wrong. I'll be wrong. But what I'm saying is that the name Mexican comes from the word Mexica, is what the people call themselves. They didn't ever call themselves Aztecs. That was not, Aztec is not a name that they ever referred to themselves as. They referred to themselves as Mexica, and that's where we get the word Mexican from. They speak a language called Nahuatl that's still spoken in Central America. Nahuatl is still spoken, so that's how we get the name Mexicans for the indigenous people who live south of the U.S. border.
Okay. And listen, so back to right here, thank you for clearing that up. You be say have somebody else pick it up for your children. If you don't want to take the picture, have somebody else do it.
Okay, what about, go ahead.
Go. What about what?
Just really, I mean, I like how Professor Donna said we're gonna keep it just to that, you know, put shameless giving. Ain't no shame in giving and giving. Ain't no shame in me giving. Ain't no shame in you taking.
So here we go. Brother John say a lot of us have had people help us and hold it over our heads at the point where we do not ever want to ask again.
That's a common response.
Yeah.
King Jab said that Agape Soul will be giving away shoes to young ladies. So just letting you know, that's something that needs to be done.
There you go. Bring the girls to Agape, and they got some nice little shoes over there. You know what? So, I mean, some people will hold stuff over your head.
Yeah, that's a strategy.
It is a strategy, and sometimes, you know, everybody not doing good, but it's a lot of stuff that's happening good out there, and it's gonna go back to my saying at the end of the day. You hold this one person accountable for all the good stuff that doesn't happen. 10 people done gave you stuff and never held it over your head, but the one person that did, not it stopped you from getting from everybody else.
But some people ain't have them 10 people.
No, I'm telling
you. Some people, it was only that one person.
Lies. Lies you
So
can. No, lies you
can.
Somebody gave you, listen, your mama got up and gave you water when you was thirsty. Somebody gave you some water. Ain't nobody just walked around this earth and one person that just they did one thing for them. People like to take the one negative aspect of their life and make it dictate and make the narrative of everything that happened. You cannot tell me that you walk in this life all day long and ain't nothing that happened. Even if somebody gave you a pen that you asked for, they did not hold that over your head. When somebody held the door for you, they did not say, I held that door for you. That's something that somebody still did for you. And the one person who pumped your gas is like, hey, I pumped your gas for you, you owe me. Now you like, ain't nobody else gonna do nothing else for me. But you didn't think about the person who held the door for you. They did something for you. The person who then, when you walked in the restaurant, set you down on the seat, and guided you where you need to be. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff people do for you, but we don't pay attention to it. Again, we look at the negative and we let that be the narrative of our lives, and we need to change that.
Hey, let me read this on King Jab. King Jab say, I learned with the street team to do just that, to just do it. My only negative feedback from the bosses was I wasn't taking enough pictures, and kind of told them I ain't with that ish. The work has been done.
Right on. Sometimes when we need, we stand as the examples to teach people how to give.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes our need is an example for other individuals. So sometimes when we need something from someone and they give it to us and then they hold it over our heads, then we are serving in the role as their teacher. We're teaching them how to become better givers by letting them witness the poor nature in which they're giving. So once we kind of understand where we stand in this thing, and we teach people how to treat us.
I want to say this. For those, like we say, people that we're taking advantage of and things held over their head. But then there's the givers, right? That don't get nothing in return. That's giving of the heart. You get what I'm saying? And then they get taken advantage of. You get what I'm saying? And get used out. And now I ain't giving to nobody. I ain't doing nothing for nobody. Look what I did last time. So now we getting in a situation where it's gonna be a stalemate. It's gonna be people on one hand who don't want to ask nobody for nothing, and a bunch of people on the other hand who don't want to give nobody nothing.
I think that's because they don't see the mutual need that they have with one another. And that is that when you're a giver, the person who's receiving is teaching you how to give. And when you're a receiver, the person who's giving is teaching you how to receive.
Now, I agree with you, and I'm gonna say this, I don't subscribe to all, but usually people who naturally give, when they get frustrated and they say I'm not, they typically end up giving anyway. When stuff comes from the heart and you do it genuinely, you're just gonna do it. When you see people who say I'm not giving anymore because they were looking for something in return and they didn't get what they felt like they should have got in return, so it wasn't genuine from the heart. Typically, not always, but typically.
No, but typically it'd be like it's like it's and or and.
It could go either way.
Yeah, because you got some situations where some people have given out. You get what I'm saying? Some people give so much to their detriment, to where it's hurting them.
Right.
And they still give. And they still give. And then sometimes people get to that certain situation, that rock bottom, and say, you know what? I gotta just do me for me.
But because they don't have nothing else to give. But that didn't stop them from giving. They just didn't have nothing else to give. They gave till they didn't have anything to give anymore.
But that's what I'm saying. That ain't right.
No, it ain't right. But this is what I'm saying. But those people are genuine and they do it from the heart. But people need, when you're pouring in, you have to make sure that people are pouring back into you. And a lot of times.
So now that's asking for something in return.
No, but
see, All I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. It's reciprocity though.
It is.
But you know what I'm saying?
And so
Because you got to put something back in for the
should.
givers so they can keep giving.
You do.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that you always get something in return.
You do.
It's a lesson.
Either way.
Either way, it's a lesson.
All right, so
you're gonna get something.
So here we go. So, ending remarks. Go ahead.
Expand your gangster. Know who you are. Know where you are, and then understand that self is the primary reference for what you are, who you are, where you are, and to whom you belong. Expand your gangster.
Who? Salad Challenge. Big shots out to Sam Copeland.
Nip.
So I just want to say, let's get organized, y'all. Let's not be mad. Let's not be frustrated at things we seeing. Let's get organized. And once we organize, we'll be able to help the people who need to get some clothes. And they don't need a backpack. I just need some shoes or some clothes. When we properly organize, we'll have some clothes for them. We'll have some, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right, be the change you want to be or see. Write down those 5 things to appreciate life. Tonight, St. Pete Funny Podcast. Tonight with Barack. Y'all know how funny Barack is.
Barack.
So tonight at 8 o'clock. If you have not also registered, we'll throw that in there for Friday Conversation and Libation. Right? Nice. It's free alcohol, free food.
We might need to do a show. See,
right there. Conversation Libation, Studio 620 on Friday from 6 to 10. This has been the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club. I'm Qiana.
This is the one and only Mr. Ed.
And this is the intellectual gangster, your brother Donnie the Professor.
Yes, and we are out. See y'all Wednesday.